Good evening, everyone. This is Gulshan Memoria. I'm the CEO and the founder of Inspiredvalley. So every week we connect with the educational leaders, mainly the principals and tech founders, to discuss on some of the common topics. So this week we have taken the topic is how to develop critical thinking skills in students. Let me present the panelists to you. The very first speaker that we have is Miss Manisha Johri. She is the ex-principal of at the IB School, Global School, Bhopal. Next in line we have is Miss Shubhangi Raajput. She is the vice principal at Neerja School, Udaipur. Next we have is Miss Sarita Gomes. She is the head principal at Marwari Vidyalaya High School, Mumbai. Next we have is Mr. Badal Singh. He is the principal at Delhi Public School, Lagma, Sitamarhi. And next we have is Miss Vishakha Gupta. She is the principal at Beacon High School Junior College, Pune. We welcome you everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Hello,
you.
Mr. Gulshan.
Let me connect with Miss Manisha and let me ask our first question to her. Ma'am, according to you, what does it mean to be like? What do we understand by this critical thinking, and why it is important for students to develop this skill? I'm sure that being an educator by yourself, I mean, you have given a lot of time, especially with the school students. So you can give us more clarity about this topic.
Actually, see, critical thinking is something that we academicians generally call
Mm-hmm.
higher order thinking. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not a new thing. It's something that we have always been talking about, but have
Mm-hmm.
not been able to implement it very effectively. And now it's very essential that we start thinking about how to implement these skills because with so much of information that is available to us, if
Mm-hmm.
we are not able to objectively evaluate that information and put it to good use, then I think we lack those skills. And these skills have become very important now because, like according to the World Economic Forum, this is the second highly sought after skills by all the employers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if a child, a student of today, is not taught how to acquire these skills. Now, these skills are something that can be acquired. It is not that they're inherent and you have to be born with it. It is something that can be inculcated if you're given the right environment.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is home or school, I mean, it is just the right environment that the child gets. And it has become very important now because we are entering into the fourth industrial revolution
Mm-hmm.
where everything, like artificial intelligence, automation, everything is being, given out to the machines.
Mm-hmm.
The jobs that are left for the students of today are ones that need a deep thinking.
Exactly.
And that deep thinking will only come if these critical skills are, taught to the
When
children.
they start critically analyzing everything in detail, why
Yes,
this thing is happening actually.
yes. In the third industrial revolution also, when, a lot of people lost their jobs because machines took over.
Mm-hmm.
Still, there were, unskilled people could get the jobs. But now is the time when it will be very, very highly impossible for these students to get jobs. So it is important that we teach our students these skills.
That's wonderful. Any speaker would like to, at any point, you have this option called raising your hand. I mean, in your chat box, so you can raise your hand because we would love to have more discussion on any other topic so that we can make it. Yeah, yeah, Mr. Badal, please share your views.
Very rightly said by Ma'am Manisha. Just I would like to add on that
Mm-hmm.
generally this critical thinking is mixed up with the creative thinking of the student. So it is very important for the school as a principal to us also to guide the students the difference of these soft skills. These thing comes under the soft skills of the. We
Mm-hmm.
have two different skills like hard skill and soft skill,
Exactly.
right? So these are the things which comes under the soft skill, and we generally compare between creative and critical. We think these two are the same things. Critical thinking basically leads to a decision making ability of the student.
Mm-hmm.
And if we inculcate this habit of critical thinking in the student, they will be able to decide about their career, about their relationships, about so many things. Whereas creative thinking is just a thinking of a problem out of the box. It means we have a some ultimate solution. Like we are going through nowadays, we are going through an episode that is called Shark Tank, in which we are going through the projects which are thinking out of the box. That is called creative thinking. And this critical thinking is a different soft skill which we need to, teach the teachers also and to the students also the major difference between these two things.
That's absolutely fine.
Absolutely.
Wonderfully explained. Wonderfully explained. Please, Vishakha, I would like to add some, because you're already working in Pune in one of the reputed schools. So I'm sure that you will give us more clarity in how because in current situation, current generation, students are more critically analyzing things. They are not going to accept it like 20 years before when the things were there. Right. So now, if you tell them something, okay, take science or go into that profession, they are always in a mood to critically analyze every possible thing. So, just share your experience. How do you feel this way?
See, I feel it will be foolish to undermine students.
Hmm.
They are smart and they are smarter, right?
Exactly.
So basically, they need a little guidance.
Hmm.
Yes.
They need mentoring, and more than anything else, we need to be good facilitators with them. We cannot be teachers anymore. So we have to redefine our roles. And it is the generation, if I talk about myself, I am from the generation that did not learn computers in school. And I'm
Hmm.
dealing with a generation that is using smartphones the moment they are born. So we have to think and bring about that 360-degree transformation in our thoughts, and then bring ourselves to the level of these children, and then take our things ahead. And that will be possibly a better way to take things forward. So I think what critical thinking does is it empowers students to be independent, innovative, and helps them succeed in school and life. Also very important that it translates both in academics and job seeking.
Hmm.
So that is why the NEP has also understood the importance of skills, and skill related courses are a part of the curriculum now.
Exactly. Exactly.
What is yet to be done is the implementation. The
Yeah.
right direction in which it has to be taken forward is very important. We are teaching things. We have added 40 new skill courses in our curriculum in CBSE. But at the same time, how does it relate to everyday life? How does it transform a student's life? How does it bring him to become more maybe a job giver rather than a job seeker? So that is the need of the hour. We have to train our children to be job providers and not job seekers. And that is, I guess, goes well with the mission of Make in India and Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, where we are talking about more of entrepreneurship. When we are teaching children skills, we are trying to bring them to become entrepreneurs. So
Exactly.
thinking at their level, understanding their needs, understanding their thoughts, bringing ourselves, teachers, in sync with the thought process of the children, right? Looking towards possible future avenues, making our students future ready
Hmm.
is what critical thinking would actually do to the children. And which is why it is very important to transform our children as critical thinkers, because then they'll be able to think out of the box. They'll be able to deduce the end result of a problem. So it helps them make decisions. It helps them
Hmm.
decide, okay, I want to do computers, I don't want to do computers. I want to do computers, why? I don't want to do computers, why? So that kind of a decision is required, and that decision with conviction, because they have to take it forward in life, especially the senior students. I
Exactly.
feel
Exactly.
that as a principle is what I have seen in students, and this we need to instill. It is coming in, but then there's a lot of more which has to be done,
Yes.
especially in the forms of life skills.
Exactly. Yeah, Manisha, ma'am, please.
See, I have, as a principal, I have seen, that there are three categories of students. There are
Okay.
still students who go by what their parents say. There are
Hmm.
students who would choose a career because what their peers, out of peer pressure. And
Hmm.
then there is this third category, which critically analyzes, would talk to the teachers, find out more on internet about the university offering those courses. What should they expect out of that course? What will that course
Hmm.
give them in return if they take it up? So I think those that category of students who are independent critical thinkers is still very less, just
Exactly.
because of the
This is what
system,
I
the
was
way that we
even.
teach them.
Hmm.
And we have to work with these other two categories and also with parents. I mean,
Hmm.
a child who thinks critically, fine, but sometimes it is the parents who you need to, really work with to help the child to take a decision. So I think that we have to work at various levels to bring in these skills.
Yeah, Mr. Badal, you wanted to add something, please.
Just for this, my thing is I always use this quotation whenever I discuss with the teachers also.
Hmm.
21, 2019. So I always say them that this symbolizes that the students of 21st century are taught by the teachers of 20th century with a curriculum of 19th century.
These are the existential
Right?
crises, I would rather say. There is nothing can be done
Yes.
in that
So,
area.
so this is something which we need to, update ourselves. And it should be like if we are running 21st century students, we have to develop ourselves as 21st century only.
That's absolutely fine
That is
because
a very important
we,
role as a school administrator.
exactly in our brand Inspiring Minds, I'm sure there are a lot of people, a lot of principals might be aware about this brand, the Inspiring Minds. We do career counseling. Okay, so in career counseling, when we go and deliver the workshop or deliver anything, sort of anything. So what I mean, there are many careers which have been not evolved yet. There are many things which has not been evolved yet, and we're going to teach the students about those things which are not in the business right now. After 5 years, what they will be doing, that's going to be entirely new thing altogether. And as you rightly said, Mr. Badal, the teachers are not equipped rightly in terms of the skills. What all things are going on around. I mean, currently I've seen a lot of.
Like I always say to my students, na, like nowadays, if you see the voice artist, the career of voice artist, everything is dubbed in different languages. In English movie, they are dubbed in Hindi. Cartoons, they are dubbed in Hindi. The South Indian movies, they are dubbed in Hindi. If you have a good command over the language,
Hmm.
and if you do a simple course of 6 months to 9 months in a specialist vocal institute, you will get a lakhs of rupees in just a few months.
But how many
So
students
short,
actually? But sir, how many students
that is
actually
what we are
take
supposed
this
to
course?
deliver to
As
their
Manisha
students.
rightly
Yes.
pointed out, but we need to work with the parents as well. Because for the parents, if the students are taking science stream, the PCM or PCB, they are more than happy. If they're
Hmm.
taking commerce, then again that's a different thing altogether. So the humanities, they have left the scope. And after graduation, they think about, okay, now what next? So after they've invested a lot of money, they are not critically analyzing anything. They're just following the herd. Yeah, Vishakha ma'am, you have raised your hand, please.
Yes, I rightly agree with Manisha ma'am. See, when we talk about schools, the school, the parent, and the student is just like a triangle.
Hmm.
The parent and the school is at the base, and it takes the child up.
Hmm.
So we have to ensure that parents are in sync. And more than the children, I guess parents are the people who need counseling.
Yeah.
Yes, if you
Absolutely
would have
fine.
all seen that
Absolutely agree.
exam collection ad which spoke about the black t-shirt, XL size being
Yeah.
sold on the same day. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess all the parents,
Yes, yes,
still,
yes.
most of them, I would say, talk
Hmm.
about the same black t-shirt, same XL size.
Hmm.
My relatives are all engineers, so you have to be an engineer. My relatives are all doctors, you have to be a doctor. So, more than student, the parent counseling is important. We have such offbeat jobs: the chocolate taster, the pearl diver, the wine taster, the wildlife photographer, and
Hmm.
these are amazingly highly paid jobs. But do our parents do that?
But everyone do it after once they finish their graduation or
And
their
after
post
they feel,
graduation.
okay, now I have realized what my passion is, they possibly devoid another student of a
Exactly.
seat.
Seat. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they realize it later.
No.
Farhan Qureshi in Three Idiots realizes it in the final year of engineering when one seat got wasted.
No. And the other thing is that parents are the first teachers who should, create an environment of critical thinking at home. Children start learning
Absolutely.
these skills very early. So when a
But you
child, you give choices to a child and make the child take a guided, informed decision, you're
Yeah, but I
actually
guess here even the parents need help because they are not familiar with career options.
Exactly, exactly.
We
That is
as
why it's
that
called as
also.
no,
mandatory.
ma'am, not even career. I mean, very simple things like what to buy, what not to buy.
Hmm.
The choice is never given to a child. He's told,
Right.
or if he creates, if he, insists on something, he's made to buy that. But the parent is never ever trying to tell the child, that you have to make an informed decision. So I think the critical thinking, I think the topic should not have been students, it should have been children, developing critical things in children right from home to school.
So that's a never-ending thing because we cannot put the onus entirely on parents. It's a complete or it's a combined responsibility. I would rather say that's the reason. That's the reason these schools are existed, and that's why they have sent their children to the schools. So it becomes our responsibility. Though we can share some responsibility with parents, but ultimately it's our responsibility as an educator, as a principal. My next question to Mr. Badal. Mr. Badal, what are some practical strategies or the techniques, which you have used in your school that teachers can use to promote critical thinking in the classroom?
Okay, regarding critical thinking, as I said, first thing is we have to make it clear what actually critical thinking leads to the student. That is the decision making ability.
Fine.
And in that case, what we have to in our curriculum or in our teaching, we have to
Hmm.
bring some changes. Like we generally heard in after NEP also, learning by doing, competency-based questions.
Exactly.
Like right. So learning by doing is a very important concept because if you heard a Chinese proverb is there, I hear, I forget, I see, I remember, I do, I understand.
Hmm.
So that concept, if we are not that this saying is given like 521 BC, right? By that Confucius, he
Hmm.
gave this quotation. But we are doing it right now, learning by doing method. Okay, in my school also there is a I observed it in my school itself. There is a flower bed next to my building,
Hmm.
and a side of that flower bed, the sunlight is available in the morning, and then sun turns around towards the west. Other part of the flower bed does not get the sunlight. Now one side of the flower bed are flowering now. The flower has come, but other side there is no flower.
Hmm.
So yesterday only I took class 6th, 7th and 5th students to that flower bed and asked them to observe what they have observed. So it was so good to see them that they observe the thing. So what is that, sir? Due to photosynthesis, sunlight is not available. Sunlight is available, so they made food properly, and it's flowering now. But other is not able. So what we need to do, we need to give them opportunity to speak. Right? We need to give them opportunity to learn. That is first and foremost. What is happening? The teacher is preparing the lesson plan. They are
Exactly.
going to the class, delivering, coming back to the staff room. Right? Two-way communication is not creating in the class.
It's not
Classroom
happening
does
actually.
not mean the four wall. Four walls are not made for classroom. Can be anywhere. Right. So it is very important. Learning by doing is one effective way to indulge in the critical thinking. Number two, we should give freedom to the students to learn. They must have the freedom to ask. Right. Freedom of learning on their choice, not on us. Right. That is very important. Now, when I was a student, I did my schooling from one of the finest school of the country, and my physics teacher, Dr. H.N. Kapoor sir was there. He was teaching us gravitation chapter. He came to the class, he pick up the duster and throw. Chapter is over. Now ask.
That
So
reminds me of my
from
school
there,
as well.
yeah, from there I came to know, wow, what means you have to, when you go into the class, you need to prepare for that particular class. That kind of teaching is very effective. So then only the student will think what I am going to learn today. So when the student
कोई
will come to the
क्यूरियोसिटी नहीं
school,
रहता, मतलब ये जो कोई जो आप पॉइंट बात
yeah,
करें,
that is
क्यूरियोसिटी
very
नहीं है,
important. कोई
मतलब
curiosity नहीं
एवरीथिंग
रहती
इज
है.
लाइक वेल प्रिपेयर्ड बट नथिंग देयर शुड बी
But in a,
क्यूरियोसिटी. हाँ.
हाँ, that should be there. कि student should know कि हाँ यार आज कुछ अच्छा मिलेगा.
हाँ 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 हाँ.
That is very important. And that will only be possible through when we connect the, stories to the real life situation.
हम्म.
That is my third point, how we can, generate this thing. Real life situation को जब हम story telling competition CBSE ने इसीलिए start किया. Why CBSE has started this competition? It was not earlier. From last few years, the CBSE has started this storytelling competition. And in each subject, they are making it mandatory. That if you are teaching mathematics also, you should relate, stories to the subject. So we should make our subjects, make our student and teachers in such a way that they deliver it as students are required. Question paper also I have seen. Generally, I have seen the teacher frame a question paper according to themselves, not according to the student.
देयर आर मेनी थिंग्स
Right?
विच नीड्स टू बी
जितना
चेंज. जो
टीचर
आपने
को
जो
पता
पॉइंट
है,
आप बात कर
जितना
रहे हैं ना
टीचर
बदल
को
सर,
समझ में आता है. जी.
जो आप बात कर रहे हैं ना ये बहुत जेन्युइन बात है. मतलब इसका एक बहुत अच्छा सा एग्जांपल मैं दे सकता हूँ. मतलब दिस इज माय नाइन्थ ईयर इन माय प्रोफेशनल जर्नी and I have delivered more than 800 trainings to especially with the schools setup. And whenever I go to any training, वहाँ टीचर्स के जो चेहरे होते हैं ऐसा लगता है कि आज क्या होता कहाँ बैठ गए. एंड आई ऑलवेज स्टार्ट माई टीचर्स ट्रेनिंग विद अ लॉट ऑफ फन एंड एवरीथिंग. मतलब मैंने कहा आज आपको ट्रेनिंग में आना था, हाउ मेनी यू हैव सम क्वेश्चंस. हार्डली वन और टू टीचर, मतलब वो भी नहीं देते हैं. ठीक है. मैंने कहा आज कुछ नया होने वाला है आपके साथ में. आपको पता है कि आज से कोई बाहर का रिसोर्स पर्सन आएगा और आज आपके साथ में कुछ बात करेगा किसी टॉपिक के ऊपर, एंड यू डोंट हैव एनी क्वेश्चन. सो आई एम नॉट अंडरमाइनिंग एनीथिंग, बट एक जो क्यूरियोसिटी वाली चीज है, जब टीचर्स के अंदर या हमारे अंदर ही कोई क्यूरियोसिटी नहीं है, हमारे अंदर एक ऐसी चीज होना चाहिए ना कि यार हम कुछ नया चीज सीखने वाले हैं आज. ऐसा तो नहीं होना चाहिए कि चलो बैठ जाएंगे 5 घंटे बीत जाएंगे सर्टिफिकेट मिल जाएगा, दैट्स इट, which normally happen. So if we don't have that thing in ourselves, how we can expect that the person who is sitting in that room will teach the same things to the students? Because this is
Active learning is not there. Active learning.
exactly आपने
Right?
जो
Like
curiosity
in
वाली बात
physics,
करी है,
as a,
आपने जो
as a
बात. हाँ.
student of as a student of physics, there are different laws, Newton's law and all. So for this, this critical thinking, there is three laws I have read. Number one is law of readiness. Law for active learning. Number one is law of readiness.
अरे
You
राइट इट
should make student ready for learning. जब तक वो ready नहीं होगा, तब आप
डाउन.
कितना ही बोलते रहिए, वो receive ही नहीं करेगा. भाई, what is two-way
Absolutely yes,
communication? जब आप कुछ
absolutely yes.
देना चाह रहे हैं, दूसरा लेना ही नहीं चाह रहा है, so what is the need of that? So number one is law of readiness. Before starting your lecture or any topic or anything, you should make the student ready to receive. Number two, law of exercise or practice. Whatever you taught, you are not making them practice or exercise. If you are dealing them with a single question previous day, replicate that thing in the next day. That we are not doing. Right? So law of exercise is very important. Number three, law of effort. If you have done something, you have practiced it, so you should feel good. That is also very important. If I have learned something, I should feel myself thus, yes, I have done something today good. वो फीलिंग ही नहीं आती है. नहीं आ रही है तो रिपीट फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड. जब तक वो फीलिंग आपको नहीं आ रही है, you repeat first and second, and if it is done, then you are a critical thinker.
That's absolutely. Shubhangi ma'am, you have raised your hand. You wanted to add some point?
Yeah,
Please.
I was just listening quite patiently to everyone, their point of views. Regarding critical thinking, there are few pointers, like as ma'am, sir, and ma'ams are sharing about a lot of perspectives. The word critical thinker itself gives you an idea that the person is able to have independent thinking, and of course, an independent thinker will have a lot of questions to ask you. So before we, imbibe this particular quality in the students, we should ask the questions to ourselves as a parent, as well as teacher or administrator, that are we ready to, or do we have that patience level which encourages the students to ask the question? As you were rightly saying to the audience, that whenever you go as a mentor for conducting the sessions, there are faces which are blank. So most of them are out of compulsion, or out of, getting only one certificate in their hand to add it into their profile. So this is something which is always the same kind of thing in the students as well. Like they are coming because the parents are sending. Parents are sending because it's the demand of the thing. What will the society say? So these are some of the intriguing factors which a child never understands, and the systems are such wherein the teachers also are bound with curriculum completion, syllabus making, and papers and activities and so many things. So wherein indirectly, directly, the questioning abilities are hampered. So when we are not able to get any question, slowly and silently, like if you remember, there is a scene in which Tare Zameen Par Amir Khan gives an example of an island where there is a tree who is flourished and blossoming. And people go over there and keeps on telling the tree that you are bad tree or whatever it is. And after a few weeks or so, it is observed that the tree's blossom is gone and the tree is slowly dying. The same thing happens with the curiosity as well. It's like a small seed germinates and transforms a plantlet into a tree. So we as elders, grown-ups, and then the professionals should always be good listeners, not passive listeners, but should have the ability to encourage the students to approve the questions and direct them to ask right kind of questions, because many a times it happens that the children will ask you questions and then they will get snubbed. So when they'll get snubbed, then there will be only two things: either they will go in a wrong direction or they will stop asking questions, and when they'll
Exactly.
stop asking questions, it cannot be transformed into the critical thinkers or innovators in the future life.
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Yeah. Okay. Anyone would like to add any point for the same
No,
question,
actually,
Vishakha? Yeah.
I would just like to add over here that in the school environment, it is not only the classroom, it is, everything that is involved in schooling. The child, if you start giving them, choices, take their opinion. They have such wonderful opinions. I tried it out in one of my classes in grade seventh. I asked the children, "What would you like for the next academic year?" I told them that we are sitting and planning for the next academic year. What is it from this academic year that you would like to take it forward? What new you would like to add? And I told him, I said, don't give me things like 8 sports period or 2 picnics. I don't want that kind of a suggestion. I want some concrete suggestions. And each of them wrote, and you won't believe, there were such good suggestions. Like they wanted a literacy club, they wanted an MUN club, or they wanted, that there should be more of these career counseling sessions. So it is not that children don't think, they think, but we don't give them opportunity to think. That is the problem. And I think we have to change. We have to bring about a real drastic change where we make them a part of the running of the school. We give them that option and we also guide them and tell them that this is possible and this is not possible. So you cannot just tell everything and anything. But yes, there are certain things that can be, you can have the liberty to make a decision.
Aban.
So that's what I wanted to add over here.
That's
Sarita
wonderful.
ma'am has been very quiet for a while.
That's wonderful. Vishakha, ma'am, can you please share some strategies that you are using in your school? I mean, especially promoting the critical thinking exercises.
Yes. In my school, like we have the student council, and the student council is a very, very important and integral part of the school planning and decision making. Believe me, such wonderful ideas have come up. So, we have activities across from the pre primary to class 12, and we involve the students in giving ideas. And there have been such wonderful ideas that have come, like for our science exhibition, they said, ma'am, we would have a robot who would bring in the scissor and cut the the ribbon cutting would happen with that. I said, wonderful, but who's going to make the robot? We would, ma'am. And then they started working on it. I said, fine, your idea is approved, please go ahead. And it worked out so well. So when we were planning the science exhibition, as I was telling you, I said, let's have something different. Let's not have the regular science exhibition where we have, models put up.
At
I
least
wanted
not this thermocol sheets. At least
Yes,
not this
I said
thermocol.
I want a concept. Believe me, the concept
Seriously.
they gave to me was the five elements. And we'll talk about science in the five elements and how it is all integrated into the human body as the sixth place. It came out so beautifully well that I was amazed at the thought the children could lead to. And that is why I said that we have to give freedom to the learners. We have to connect stories to real life concepts. Now we all talk about भगवान ने दर्शन दिया और फिर अंतर ध्यान हो गए. But do we connect it with the hologram technology? The hologram technology is, I guess, nothing else but this. So, see, we have to connect stories to real life, and then they would know. Like, if it say our science in the ancient time was very advanced, have we given them proof? Have we connected it with real life today? Telling them, see, this is how it happens if it can happen today. Our science was so advanced when children don't like seeing the Mahabharata, but if they actually see the Mahabharata, it's full of examples. Sanjay sitting in the room of the house is giving a live telecast to Dhritarashtra about what's happening at Kurukshetra. Is it not like watching a television match today? We are not connecting.
A lot of things that
Yeah.
we are not connecting. I was
Yes.
listening to that one of these this YouTube video wherein one IIT professor was giving some of the examples. So even I was totally amazed the kind of example that he has used. Okay, what he was telling that till 16th century it was mentioned that this Earth was flat,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
nobody knew that Earth was flat or a round thing. But in the earlier thing, what the geography called in India called Bhugol.
Google.
यस तो भू गोल
Goal.
एंड सिंपली आई वाज अमेज्ड कि यार ये चीज तो कभी सोचा नहीं मैंने
सोचा नहीं,
कि
right.
इतने
This is
सालों
the
से हमें
thing.
पता है कि भू जो है वो गोल है
We are not
बिकॉज
connecting things together. See, if we
एंड
go back to scriptures, Hanuman Chalisa gives us the right distance between the earth and
एग्जैक्टली
the sun.
एग्जैक्टली बट वी डोंट
Right?
क्वेश्चन दीज
We
थिंग्स
don't question, we
देयर
don't
आर लॉट
correct.
ऑफ पीपल देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल कि यार तुम तो कुछ और बात कर रहे हो कुछ और
Hmm.
बात करते हैं इस चीज के बारे में बात नहीं करते हैं ये तो चीज बहुत पुरानी हो गई सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स व्हिच वी डोंट डिस्कस वी डोंट इंक्रीज दे डोंट इंक्लूड इन आवर pedagogy we don't include in
Absolutely.
our teaching skills
So
we don't use
discussion
it
is
in the
very
examples.
important. Open-ended discussions are very important, and
Hmm.
we have to have these open-ended discussions, open-ended questions. It is
Exactly.
okay if the child is giving his or her opinion. That opinion may not be true today, but may be true tomorrow, day after. Like you said, the earth was flat. Nobody went on navigations because they thought they would come to the edge and fall off.
Exactly. Exactly, yes.
But then it was proved that this theory was incorrect. The earth was round. So why deny the hypothesis of a child today? And that is what, as I was talking previously,
Now
also.
anything is possible. I mean, in the world of the Shark Tank, in the world of this entrepreneurship, in the world of today's world, there are a lot of things which are happening. I mean, I'm sure you must belong to the generation, I mean, to 80s or 70s. Some of you are mid 90s also, and you have seen the transition shift. And you all must agree, but all the change this happened like 20 years before, it's happening right now in every year. Every year there are a lot many changes which are happening and we are not even keeping the pace with it. Every day or the other day there are a lot of new things are coming up and we're just thinking यार ये चीज़ क्या हो गया आज तो कल तो ये था अब ये चीज़ हो गया चलो अब ये चीज़ पढ़ाना पड़ेगा या ये चीज़ होना पड़ेगा. So a lot of things are happening. Sarita ma'am, you've been sitting so quietly. We would love to have some views from your side. We can't hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, would love
Yes.
to have some views from your side. You patiently are giving. Thank you so much that you are sitting. Please, you can go home. I really, मुझे थोड़ा
No,
बुरा
it's
लग.
nothing like that.
It's
मुझे
absolutely
नहीं
fine.
लग रहा है सर. I'm fine.
Yeah, please, ma'am, can you please
So
share your views here on this thing? How about like, how your
yes.
school is
So
approaching? Yeah.
so yes, I will definitely highlight these things because I myself we have been a part of this critical thinking part because what happens normally. Sorry with my throat.
It's absolutely
Please
fine.
manage. Um, these kind of children, when we say critical thinking,
Mm-hmm.
so these kind of children, basically, if you see the teachers looking into the classroom doesn't give more importance to such children, which is a
Mm-hmm.
fact of her life inside the classroom. So I always be a person to first look at those children who really need more attention, give them a proper, along with others, give a proper surrounding atmosphere to get them settled down. If the teacher has planned by her comfort to give the best for the students, these kind, and a comfort to learn the things in the playway method and come out with their ideas, and the child share their things, how they feel with the teacher. So these things really work in the school, in the classrooms, where it can be, we can say in a group, but one to one. Teachers needs lots of patience.
We just lost Miss Sarita due to some bad connection. We'll come back to her again. Mm, I mean, I'm sure that you guys are with the schools for the past, I mean, a lot of time, like 20 years, 30 years. You can give me this answer which I'm looking to have this thing.
Sorry,
Why? Yeah, absolutely fine, Miss Sarita. Why in
I
a classroom? Yeah, please let me. Why in a classroom only few students have this ability to complete their answers, to share their views? Why not this 35? I mean, all the students. Why only 5 to 6 students will always give you the answer? Will always be in a very any competitions as such. Anyone can share their views.
yeah, I would like to share my view
Please.
again.
Hmm.
It's the one, the respective person who's taking hold of the class.
Hmm.
He or she needs to understand the importance of each child in the classroom.
Hmm.
If the teacher is not biased or biased and keeps everyone into one level,
Hmm.
I believe that every each child in the class will get the same attention with the same thing happening in the class.
Hmm.
This is what I believe because I was such kind of a teacher in the class.
So it is the
So this is my
responsibility putting
experience.
the entire onus on the teacher.
So I because
Hmm.
the leader is the one who knows her or his class children well,
Hmm.
and that's the plan where the teachers need to be pre-planned to execute the things because he or she knows before entering the class what is the thing to be given explode and how is she going to do. So this all depends on all these terms. This is how I believe.
Fine. I'm sure you must have seen a video called Class of Rowdies.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful video. I mean, normally that we see, and I'm sure that every teacher, every principal must have shown to their respective educators.
Yes.
Yeah, Shubhangi, ma'am, can I have your views on this thing? Why only few students are always given a chance, and why not the other part, especially the last 10 students? They don't participate. They don't give any responses. They feel that okay, I'm already excluded in the classroom. Forget about the critical thinking. Even I'm not the part of this classroom. Why this thing happen?
Yeah. See, the first thing is that it always happens with a larger audience. Whenever
Hmm.
we have a larger audience, personality traits comes in here. There are
Hmm.
few people who are always, would like to be at front, and
Hmm.
they will be always trying to be in the good books of the teachers.
Exactly.
And there will be some people who will always have a neutral stand, and there will be always some people who will have a lot of fear of something in their mind.
Hmm.
The fear of something is maybe the identity crisis for themselves,
Hmm.
low self esteem, or they are going through a bad phase in their personal lives. Anything can be the possibility. So, here comes the first thing that wiring of the brain. So there are many of us, like whenever any question popped up, like out of all of us as well, if a situation arises, we all will have our brains wired in different way to respond to that stimulus. So any question in the class is the same thing. So if it's a area of my interest and my brain is always wired for that, the stimulus will be activated and my response will be always ready. Whereas for some people, that processing time is required, right? So unless that processing is not done, the conclusion cannot be there. and it will always come up, and they won't hesitate. If they are quite confident, they'll come up with their answers, maybe it is right or wrong. But then the third category of students will have these all issues as well, that low self esteem, then the processing of the information and concluding to that particular answer will be a issue with them. As a result, they'll prefer to keep silent.
Exactly.
And then this is what is the main issue. And in case a teacher also tries to probe that, and this is where a good like as ma'am Sarita was telling, that the teachers should identify their own learners and give equal opportunities. But at the same time, many a times a complex question can be a tricky situation for the student. So
Exactly.
it's the skill of the teacher to simplify the situation or the question so that it reaches to all types of learners, and it helps them to reprocess, rewire their information, and come to the same answer what he or she is expected to do.
Wonderful response. Even I got a lot of response. Yeah, Vishakha ma'am. Thank you so much, Shubhangi ma'am, for giving us this detailed insight. Yeah.
I totally agree with what Shubhangi ma'am said. Just making a statement here, see how everybody interprets it. Okay? Ruko mat jao. There'll be different interpretations, right? And the students in the class would have interpretations, they would have questions, especially the ones who would have lots of questions of how to do it, may not stand up to ask because there's again this, especially with higher grades, what would others think? I have not understood. I have so many questions to ask. So they feel, okay, if that person is doing, let them do, because if I ask questions, I'd be labeled.
Hmm.
It is the ruko mat jao situation, कि रुको मत जाओ, रुको मत जाओ. Interpretation.
दिस रिमाइंड्स मी ऑफ अ जोक. एक बार एक आदमी जाता है नेताजी के पास में कि भाई मैंने आपको वोट दिया और आप मेरा काम नहीं कर रहे हो. तो नेताजी ने कहा भाई मैंने तो आपको पहले ही कहा था कि मैं काम नहीं करूंगा, और मैंने तो आपको मना किया था. कह रहा नहीं, आप क्या बात कर रहे हैं. कह रहा मैं तुम्हारे पास में गया था वोट से पहले, चुनाव से पहले, और मैंने कहा था कि मुझे मतदान करना.
Hmm.
मुझे तुमने मुझे कर दिया. So now you are expecting the result. I've already asked you not to give me the vote. So that's the same thing. रुको मत जाओ.
Yes.
Yeah, Badal sir, you have raised your hand. You wanted to add few things to
Yeah,
this
but
regard.
I will just add on, and I would
Please.
like to appreciate Subhangi ma'am, the way she is conveying the things. It's really thank you, ma'am, for being such a good orator. Seems to be, and how good you are speaking. It's really amazing. I just want to add on the things that teachers need to understand the individual differences of the student,
Hmm.
and they need to accept each and every student with respect to their individual differences.
Hmm.
The day this will happen, you will not discriminate. Like there are so many news of biasing, उसको अच्छा मानते हैं, उसको अच्छा नहीं मानते हैं, उसका ऐसे रहता है उसका. So these things will not occur in the class. Or this thing, the psyche of the student disturbed with these things. If you are biased in a class, and if you are not accepting the student as per their individual differences, this has some psyche effect on the of a child. So you need to be very much careful while dealing with the students, especially today's generation. It is very
Exactly.
important. You cannot neglect a single bit of thing.
I
It is very
totally,
important.
totally second your thoughts. And one more thing, I mean, instead of just pointing out their mistakes, we need to point out what all the areas they are good at in. Like the way you pointed out Miss Shubhangi's speaking skills. So now she knows that she has good speaking skills, and she'll be emulating the same thing again and again, right? Because she knows it, and you have pointed out. So as a teacher, we also need to point out what all things that I'm good at. If you're always pointing out my mistakes only, then I'll not be good.
Appreciation is very much important.
Exactly,
Appreciation is
exactly.
very much important. Praising something on the same time at the same moment is very important thing.
And that gives us very good stimulus in the same terminology which Shubhangi ma'am said. So we need all this stimulus on daily basis. Yeah, Manisha ma'am, you raise your hand, please.
Uh, what I want to say is that, teachers need to understand how to scaffold a child. So there are children who will stand up and immediately give an answer, and there are children who will need your help to answer. So everywhere, I think it is the training of teachers that is required in classroom management, in lesson planning, lesson delivery, effective lesson delivery. And when the teacher knows, it's not that teacher doesn't want, maybe she doesn't know. And that's where the children suffer. So you should know how to, you've asked a question, the child has not been able to comprehend it. Simplify it, ask it in short parts, instead of a complete question, break it down, small, small parts. But ensure that the child answers when you're asking the child a question. And then that confidence level goes up, and the child is a part of the class then. So I think that training is very, very important. How to
Absolutely
help the
yes.
child to
Absolutely yes.
answer.
This was my next question. So
Okay, I'm so sorry.
that's absolutely fine. This was my second question
Developing,
because
developing a critical thinking, developing critical thinking, the first step is ask question.
Yes.
Whenever we start this, everything is under our control.
in our
Ask
day-to-day
question
life
why.
also, Mr. Badal, I totally agree with you. In our day-to-day life also, I mean, my age is 35. I mean, being an entrepreneur in the past almost
We
nine
both are
years.
of same age.
Yes. So we always try to push ourselves. We always try to ask a lot of questions. We always try to do a lot of things. I mean, on daily basis, what all things that we are doing. Suppose today, I mean, today I took an interview to two Shark Tank founders. I started another initiative called the Inspiredvalley podcast, where I invite the mainly Indian startups. So today I invite one of the speaker was Mr. Roshan. Might be you have seen that वो जो फायरबॉल वाला आपने देखा होगा एपिसोड तो उनका पॉडकास्ट हम सेंड करेंगे बहुत सारी बातें उन्होंने बताई जैसे उनका एक बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस किया मेरी फैमिली ने मुझे कभी सपोर्ट नहीं किया जैसे मेरी फैमिली ने कभी मुझे बोला नहीं कि मैं ये चीज़ कर सकता हूँ मेरी किसी फ्रेंड ने नहीं कहा कि ये चीज़ मैं कर सकता हूँ बट यार मुझे उसका अप्रूवल चाहिए ही क्यों सो इन ऑर्डर टू हैव दैट क्लैरिटी यू नीड टू हैव विजन. So one idea of this is critically analyzing because critical thinking starts with yourself. You need to have that vision and clarity within yourself. If you have that vision and clarity, you will not be afraid of anything. And it was totally clear कि यार मेरे को ये चीज़ करना है मेरे को कोई मुझे बोलता है कि डिस्काउंट दे दो तो मैं बोलता हूँ उसको यार आपको अपनी जान प्यारी है या डिस्काउंट प्यारा है आप मुझे बोलोगे डिस्काउंट देने के लिए मुझे प्रोडक्ट की क्वालिटी कम करनी पड़ेगी एंड इट वाज वेरी क्लियर कह रहा मैं प्रोडक्ट की क्वालिटी नीचे करूंगा तो वो जो ब्लास्ट होगा वो सही टाइम पर नहीं होगा और आपकी जान चली जाएगी अब आपको डिस्काउंट चाहिए and he was talking to me like he was talking to a person so in order to have that because he always thinking about all these things कि यार मुझे ये चीज़ करना है तो क्यों करना है when I asked him about कि आपने शार्क टैंक क्यों चुना कह रहा मुझे पता लग गया था कि शार्क टैंक का जो ट्रैक्शन है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है मतलब शार्क टैंक पे आने के बाद में मुझे बहुत ग्रोथ मिलने वाली है और सेकंड सीजन में फर्स्ट सीजन मेरे हाथ से निकल गया इन सेकंड सीजन आई हैव टू बी वेरी बहुत मुझे जल्दी करना पड़ेगा तो मैंने स्टार्टिंग में भर दिया क्योंकि मुझे पता था कि बाद में अगर मैं भरूंगा तो मुझे चांसेस कम हो जाएंगे मेरे मैंने हर एक चीज़ बहुत जल्दी जल्दी किया मुझे पता था कि ये चीज़ हो गई होगा सो इन ऑर्डर टू लाइक अभी जस्ट मेस्पराइजिंग द कॉन्वर्सेशन कि हाँ यार क्या चीज़ बात कर रहे हैं एंड ही वॉज अराउंड 45 years of age and he has achieved a lot of things. In 2017, he was one of those companies, and he got that manufacturing license of mobile phone. Only 40 people have received the license in this country, and he was one of those persons. But again, एक साल के अंदर उनको ये रियलाइज हो गया कि ये मार्केट बहुत बड़ी है और मेरे पास में इतना अमाउंट नहीं है. Again, that clarity was there. So as a teacher, as a principal, as a student, we need to have those clarities at every step of our life. With the students, those who are in 10th standard, they need to have that clarity that why they want to take the PCB or PCM. Sometimes when I go to schools, I ask them, okay, what you want to do, okay, which option that you want to take. He said, sir, PCMB. मैंने कहा भाई PC या तो PCM लो या फिर PCB लो नहीं सर अभी कुछ पता नहीं अगर डॉक्टर बनना हो तो डॉक्टर बन जाएंगे इंजीनियर बनना हो तो इंजीनियर बन जाएंगे एंड आई जस्ट टोटली मतलब स्टम्बल्ड अपॉन दैट रिस्पॉन्स कि यार इतना मुश्किल हो गया है आज के टाइम पर चीज़ें करना कि आपको एक सीट निकालने के लिए टेक वन एग्जांपल examination. Last year, almost 18.5 lakh students gave the NEET examination. This is a small data which I always share with parents, because whenever we do this career guidance program, we always conduct parents orientation program. And in parents orientation program, I ask them, okay, how many of your आपके जो बच्चे हैं वो कौन डॉक्टर बनना चाहते हैं, आपको नीट एग्जामिनेशन के बारे में पता है, सबको पता है नीट के बारे में. अच्छा, in NEET 18.5 lakh students gave the NEET examination. Absolutely fine. How many seats are available in government and semi-government institutions? Because if you go to a private institution, it will cost you a fortune, approximately 70 lakh to 1 crore, especially in India. So in government and semi-government institutions, there are approximately 55,000 seats are there. 55 to 60,000 seats are there, but everybody want to go to AIMS, right? How many AIMS are in this country? 7 AIMS. In 7 AIMS, how many seats are there? 700. God forbid if you belong to general category, only 350 seats are there. So from 18.5 lakh to coming back to this 700 seats, again it's a bigger nightmare. But everybody want to go to this NEET examination preparing for LN or XYZ institute because they know this thing कि हाँ पता है डॉक्टर है. But किसी को टी टेस्टर नहीं बनना, जैसे विशाखा मैम ने बताया था. किसी को टी टेस्टर नहीं बनना, किसी को गेम टेस्टर नहीं बनना. But आने वाले टाइम में वो बनेंगे. But we don't have that question. We don't ask these questions. Right now, a lot of people who are just making or uploading the videos on YouTube, they are earning in lakhs. Believe me, a 20 years old chap is not about this money. They just want to be an influencer. Yesterday I was reading one blog. A girl who is having 3.5 million followers on Instagram, 3.5, this 347k followers on Instagram. He got admission in ISB, Indian School of Business, as an MBA. He left it. She didn't want to do it. She was happy being an influencer because being an influencer, she was earning in lakhs. And right now, a lot of people, they are full-time influencers. Maybe the parents are not aware about it, but that is something which they need to understand. But right now, a lot of people, this is a full-time profession right now. The YouTube blogger, the YouTuber is a full-time profession. So till the time we will not give this information to the parents or the teachers will not play this role, it becomes very hard for the entire audience because everyone will not go for this IIT examination. There are a lot of students, those who are more tilted towards these career options. Anybody would like to add any point? We're just about to end this webinar. Anything?
Yeah, I remember I had a student when I was in Bangalore. I had a student, very good orator, and he wanted to become a lawyer. And his parents told him, "पहले engineer बन जाओ, बाद में law कर लेना." They did not realize that the child will spend 4 years, in doing his engineering, and then go on to do that 5 years of law to become a lawyer. 9 years he'll waste.
There are many stories.
So पेरेंट्स बाय टाइम दे थिंक ओके जब तक इंजीनियरिंग करेगा हो सकता है दिमाग बदल जाए, तो वो बच्चे को परस्यू नहीं करने देते जो वो एक्चुअली चाहता है करना.
One example I can give you, 2018, I was in Navy Children's School, Port Blair, अंडमान एंड निकोबार आइलैंड्स. वहाँ पर हमारा एक अमिता मैम है वहाँ पर प्रिंसिपल, एंड हमने एक करियर गाइडेंस का एक सेमिनार ऑर्गेनाइज किया. तो वहाँ पर 10th क्लास की एक लड़की थी, तो उसने after the seminar she came to me and she said, "Sir, thank you so much for giving this wonderful this thing, and before that I was planning to take PCB because my parents were asking me to take PCB, but now I want to take humanities and I want to pursue my professional journey in fashion designing. But sir, my father is a very adamant person. He will not agree. Can you please talk to him?" I said, "Okay, please ask him, because after 1 hour we're going to have this parents orientation session also." And his father was the commandant of the entire region, the entire unit, Navy unit. I didn't know this thing, and even उसने भी नहीं बताया. जब उसके फादर आए ना, तो उसके फादर ड्रेस नहीं आए, मतलब वो टाइम लेकर आए अपने पास से, और उनकी मदर भी आई. And I was like, यार इनको समझाना तो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा, इनको कैसे समझाया जाएगा. उनके साथ मेरा 45 मिनट का सेशन बैठा. 45 मिनट के अंदर मैंने बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स को टच अप किया, सारी चीज़ें किया. आज उस लड़की का 2 साल पहले मेरे पास में मैसेज आया कि सर, thank you so much for that thing, and now I've scored almost 95% in my 12th examination, and I've got admission also in NIFT. And I was so happy कि हाँ यार, जो उसने सोचा, it's not about कि हाँ उसने सोचा ही, उसने किया भी वो चीज़ करके. sometimes when a teacher, an educator, career counselor, principal, when we tell something, when we try to do something for the students, it always comes back. Thank you so much, all the principals, for sharing
So
your
we did.
wonderful views. This is our last session of the webinar. We do this rapid fire thing. In this rapid fire, we always take two suggestions from the principals or these leaders कि कैसे उस टॉपिक के ऊपर कि कैसे उसको इंक्रीज किया जाए critical thinking. So I'm giving you 10 seconds to think of two ways, and I will again come back one by one. So I'll start with Ms. Manisha, then Vishakha ma'am, Shubhangi ma'am, and Sarita ma'am, and again I'll come back to you. So one suggestion which you think that might increase the critical thinking level of the students in the classroom, like as
I
a suggestion, yeah.
I think training the teachers is very important. Training the teachers to design their lessons in such a manner that we make the children question and we make the children find answers. Assessments are also very important. Designing the assessments in such a way where you can have the child's opinion without something being really wrong or right. So, in my opinion, the change will start by training the teachers
Training the
because this
teachers
is
is
not
one.
new to education. In 1956, Bloom's taxonomy told us about higher order thinking. I mean, it told us how to take the lesson to the level of evaluation and creating. But the implementation has not been there. If we could only implement it, I think critical thinking will be there. It will be a part of our life.
Wonderful. Vishakha ma'am, one suggestion from your side.
Yeah, I have listed a few points. I'll quickly randomly, read them out. So yes, the points, suggestions. First, start. Let the children analyze and assess ideas, and the teachers to work upon it along with them. Embrace active learning. That's very important. Use analogies. Promote interactions. Ask open-ended questions. Allow reflection time. Help them to identify patterns and develop connections. Once that happens, I guess critical thinking would move ahead greatly in another step. So the next time you tell me, I have another set of points for that.
Thank you so much.
10
Yeah,
seconds.
Shubhangi ma'am.
Yeah, from my end, the teacher should reserve certain classes as surprise days, as well as some part should be reserved for having parking lot ideas. Such kind of ideas or such kind of days, you can carry certain surprises in the class wherein you are just creating an atmosphere whereby you are increasing the curiosity among the learners, and then they themselves are finding out what is happening, like assembling. Suppose you
Exactly.
have carried a machine whose parts are there, and then you are not telling anything, neither there is a sketch given what is this, and that spark curiosity. So eventually the children will fall into this, and they are very good in assembling the certain things. So this is one thing, and the second thing is that a parking lot, like whatever your ideas are, the classroom can have one, corner on a soft board, or maybe a box can be there, wherein the children can put their ideas, wherein they are parking their ideas, and that can be open up at certain point of time, and the best idea can be given the award. So this way will encourage that the children are becoming the independent thinkers, as well as it has been acknowledged and appreciated among their peers. This way,
It's wonderful.
their confidence level will be boosted, and surely everybody will come forward to participate in the active learning classrooms.
Wonderful. Sarita ma'am, one suggestion from your side. You need to unmute yourself. You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing that. So, if two things what I want to give is everything we spoke about the teachers, the principals. So the out of the box thing is this: it has to be the kids has to be boosted for their creative thinking. They should be helped to focus on the creative thinking and help them for the in the different manner where the teachers can give them some kind of various puzzles or brain teasers which will be giving them a good go. Just it can they
Some challenging activities, I would
some
understand.
challenging activities, improving their reading comprehension, which will really help them. This comprehension even will help them to give a best presentation which will really help to focus on the area what teacher or the child, or we can say the students can enhance their vocabulary.
Wonderful.
They can engross in all these skills. One more skill can be given to them, that is writing skills.
Hmm.
So if one part is over, the second part can be this. So these are all the skills where this critical thinking can enhance for the kids and help them out.
Wonderful.
That's how I feel.
Very good. Yeah, Mr. Badal, one suggestion from your side on how we can enhance the critical
Uh,
thinking. Yeah.
like I said, critical thinking, if we, incorporate the curiosity among the students,
Hmm.
asking about the question for each and everything, why, what, and how it is happening, then only this thing can be. Like Shubhangi ma'am has said, ki, taking some, machine with you or something like that. I usually do this in my particular subject. I teach class 12 physics also. So
Hmm.
whenever I teach them electricity, so I always take that damaged electric circuit along with me from any keyboard or computer IC, which contain resistance also, capacitor also, inductor also, transformer also, so that they can see the things like okay, capacitor looks like this. Okay, if I am saying ki capacitor is a device which store the energy, so they can only imagine in their mind.
Hmm.
They cannot actually see it or feel it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is very important thing. When until and unless we do not, generate that curiosity among the students, we cannot create this critical thinking in them. Learning by doing is only and the easiest way of generating the critical thinking in the students.
Now, I wish I had a teacher like you. I would have taken PCM, not commerce. I never liked physics and chemistry. I mean, for not any reason specific, I never had good teachers in my entire life. Believe me, when I was preparing for civil service examination, I prepared for civil service examination back in 10, 11, and 12. Twice I gave the interview also. So then there I found one teacher, which is very close to me, and he taught me a lot of
This
things.
is really a sad part that if somebody doing so good and he's not giving the credit to the teacher, this is really a sad part to all principals there we are sitting over here.
Nahi, I was telling you, so I found one of the teacher, why I'm telling you, because teachers do play a crucial role in our life. One day I was sitting in that coaching institution, very personal story, and I always had a doubt in myself कि यार ये मैं कर पाऊंगा या नहीं कर पाऊंगा. I never gave any answer just because of I had money. I just took admission in one of the premier coaching classes in Delhi, and I was just sitting like this. So the teacher name was Mr. Achal Khanna. So Achal sir came to me and asked कि गुलशन यार तुम ऐसे क्यों बैठे रहते हो, मतलब बताया करो, आप बता सकते हो आप चीज़ करके. मैं क्या सर, बट मुझे लगता है कि मतलब मैं क्या बोलूँ, मतलब कुछ भी कोई रिस्पॉन्स देने की उसमें नहीं था. Then he didn't ask me any question and he gave me his personal story कि यार मैंने 4 बार यूपीएससी ट्राई किया और चारों बार प्रीलिम्स भी क्लियर किया, मेंस भी क्लियर किया और इंटरव्यू भी दिया. उससे पहले उससे पहले मैंने क्या किया, उससे पहले मेरा कोई ऐसा बैकग्राउंड भी नहीं था. मतलब जिस टाइम पर था मैंने नॉर्मल ग्रेजुएशन किया था, कोई परसेंटेज कुछ नहीं, नथिंग वाज देयर, इवन नोबडी हैड दैट कॉन्फिडेंस इन मी, बट मैंने चारों बार किया और 4 बार के बाद में मेरा नहीं हुआ. But I never lost that hope in myself, and currently my monthly package is almost 4 lakh rupees with this institution. This was talking about 2011. कह रहा ये सिर्फ मेरा करियर लॉन्चर से है, not talking about the Shriram and other coaching institutions. Only career launcher is giving me 4 lakh rupees for 3 hours of my time. मैं अगर बन जाता IAS वो चीज़ें मेरी अलग होती, बट अभी मेरा ये चीज़ है. एंड राइट नाउ आई एम टीचिंग, मेरा मिनिस्टर्स के बच्चों को मैं सैट एग्जाम्स की तैयारी कराता हूँ बिकॉज ही वॉज क्वांट के वो थे टीचर थे इंग्लिश वगैरह की, ग्रामर के. एंड ऑब्वियसली मैं बहुत आराम से सुन रहा था और उन्होंने मुझे चीज़ की, गुलशन कभी भी लाइफ में कुछ होना आप अपने आप को क्वेश्चन मत करना, नहीं आता ना, always try. When you try, you learn a lot of things, and with this learning, this becomes your experience, and with experience, there is no substitute. मुझे बहुत टाइम बाद में जाके ऐसे टीचर मिले जिनकी हैं कि अगर ऐसे टीचर्स स्टूडेंट्स को स्कूल में मिल जाएं, they can do wonders. That is why few students they do wonders because they have those teachers. And I'm sure in your school there are a lot of teachers who are working specifically with these students. They are making a lot of change. This critical thinking, creative thinking, decision making, this all becomes a part of this process. Thank you so much for listening me patiently, listening those stories, and thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
giving
Thank
your
you,
time,
everyone.
giving your precious time. I'm sure those who are listening us and those who will listen this webinar, they will add a lot of it will add a lot of value to them. So again, I thank you on the behalf of entire Inspiredvalley. I thank you everyone for giving your precious time.